we're here in Florence Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and joining me is Byron Barnhart, who is the homeowner here. And Byron, I mean, who says you can't have color in a shade garden? Can we look at this?
Sure.
This is beautiful.
Sure.
I mean, just the curb appeal alone for your home and what we've got here.
Well,
how did you get your inspiration?
Well, I like color. I think the gingerbread houses that are here in Florence Park, they have a lot of character, and I think that that's even more accented with color.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking for plants that would provide color and actually accent or highlight the features of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, the Japanese maple ties in so well with the Tudor Cottage craftsman style home. I'm not the architecture person, but it's beautiful with the hostas, the different shades of hostas that you have here.
Right.
Astilbe's really coming on.
Yes.
With your heucheras.
Yeah, and it's these are about a year old, most of the plants in here, and so they're starting to see more color after the second year.
Right.
And certainly are looking much more healthy from the time when they were planted. The climbing hydrangea has gotten to be very large in 1 year.
And it looks like it's got some buds coming on it there.
I think we're going to have some more color there as well. So.
Well, I love how you've tucked in some coleus even in your rocks here, using those pockets that are naturally found in these stones.
Yeah, and there's obviously more space for some more, and so I'm planning on putting some seasonal color in here with just the annual flowers that haven't gotten to that yet, but hopefully we'll be able to do some of that here in the near future. But this has turned out very well, better than I expected, and apparently the things that are in here now like it. So it's a little bit of trial and error until you find the things that will do well in this environment.
We've got a great mix with the Solomon seal and the columbine and the heuchera. I mean, we're barely into spring and you've got so much color coming on already. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's I'm going to miss it when it's gone.
Well, there will be something else. That's when the hydrangeas are coming on.
Right.
So I'm being enticed to come around to the corner here.
Well, I want you to.
Take a look?
Yeah, sure.
And so, again, speaking of color in the shade, I mean, you primarily have hostas, again, a few columbine in here, but look at the color that you have just in the shades of green.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the idea is, I thought, well, not a lot of plants do well in the shade. However, hostas certainly like the shade, and fortunately for me, hostas come in different colors.
Right.
Just the leaves.
Yeah, it's such a nice little collection. And as we walk through your backyard, and your estate here isn't necessarily that large, but there's so much to discover as we go through it.
Right.
I mean, there's something around every little corner, it seems like.
And that was the idea. This
wall is spectacular.
Yes, it's dry stack and river rock, and that was designed to break up the backyard. So once again, it would force people to want to know what lies beyond the wall, and that was the idea. The inspiration behind this was to get people to ask that question, say, well, what else is next? And so when you come back here, it's I think the Graham Blandies they soften the wall somewhat and give some color without having to rely on flowers or annuals, since these are such a stark green against that dark stone, and I think that in itself gives you that contrasting color.
So have you designed all of this, or where? I mean, I know you've renovated your whole house.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the design process and where you got your inspiration for the landscape out here.
Well, my inspiration really came from making trips over to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and I enjoyed going over there. And because I was going over there quite a bit, I liked the narrow pathways and the stairways that always seemed to lead somewhere, but you couldn't quite see where unless you went down that pathway.
We're curious beings, aren't we?
Right. So that was my inspiration for doing this. And I thought the side yard worked out well because it's narrow. And I think ultimately you can do a narrow walkway, and it limits your vision to the backyard. And so much like Eureka Springs, it allows people to come in, and then it forces them to want to say, hey, where does this go? Or I need to go further to see what's back there. But that was a great inspiration for me, and that's why I thought I could maybe do a small version of that right in the city.
Right, right. Well, you've done a fantastic job, and
so-
and I know as we kind of look through your house, which will also be on the tour, that
Yes.
you know, it's there's such intimate spaces, and you've just put so much detail and character in each one of those spaces,
Yeah.
and that's truly reflected out here in your landscape as
Yeah.
well.
Well, these are smaller homes or older homes, but they have so much character, and I think that sometimes we miss the boat if we pass up these older homes and we don't give them the love and spend the time and money on them to bring them back and actually do some things like this that really make them a pleasant place to live and to be around. So so I'm kind of hoping that maybe it'll inspire other people who have some of these smaller homes to spend some time and money on them and do some of the similar things. You can see it's a very peaceful place back here, and that was the idea, was to make it peaceful and a place where you want to come to.
Well, you've done a fantastic job, and we've got a nice deck to take a
Yes.
rest and go up there and take a look at things
Yeah.
too as well. Well, Byron, thank you so much for opening your
you're
garden
very
to
welcome.
us and showing it.
Very welcome.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.